So I will be talking about the Kattis problem Apaaaxians. This is the name. Uh, so the problem statement is basically you're given a string, and that string is a name, but it may contain, if well, it does contain duplicate letters in succession. And what you have to do is return a string with all those extra letters removed. So for example, like here is an example input, and well, you can see this is trying to say Robert, but all these extra O's are kind of sounding weird. So that's, we gotta remove those. um and the input conditions are like this. So you'll be given a single string, all lowercase letters from A to Z. There's no white spaces. Minimum character length is 1 and maximum character length is 250. And any duplicate letters are always consecutive. So you see all the O's are one after another. It's not like this. So yeah. In this case, if you were given this, you would, wait, sorry, you would not be removing this last O. You would only be removing these 3 extra O's. Right. And that's the input. Uh, and the thought process behind the solution. So basically, I see a string and I want to loop through it to check the duplicates. And right off the bat, I don't want to manipulate the string. That will involve resizing the string inside another for loop, and that will increase time complexity. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to, take substrings and all of that. So instead, why not just start with an empty string? We will return this string as a solution later, but let's start with an empty string, call it str, and copy over the non-duplicate characters. So we would basically, in this scenario, we would not copy these 3 O's and just copy over the required characters. And it's, since we're dealing with a very small input and output, I don't think we need to worry about the space complexity. It's only 250 characters max, and what the returning string will be at most 250 if there are no duplicates. And so the logic behind the solution, at every iteration of the for loop, we would compare the character at our current index I with the character at index I plus 1. If they are equal, do nothing. If they are not, you add the character at index I to str. So if they're equal, we're basically skipping over to the next iteration of the loops because we don't want to copy over the duplicate. That's basically the core logic. And in closing, I would like to just say, like, to be mindful of this. In so that to not go out of bounds, we check loop conditions, because if you see here, we are accessing index I plus 1 and not just I. So we got to be careful of that plus 1. So for a string of n characters, basically, I plus 1 cannot exceed the last index n minus 1. So a string with n characters is basically an array with last index n minus 1, right? So I plus 1 cannot exceed n minus 2. Therefore, I is less than n minus 1. So for example, if a string has 7 characters, I cannot exceed 5, and hence I is always less than 6, which is basically string length minus 1. So I is less than string length minus 1, which is 7 minus 1. So I is less than 6. And as you can see here, all the test cases passed, so the solution is done. Thank you.